The Bliss Business Podcast, the show about empathy, connection, and consciousness in business. Today's episode is brought to you by Zero Company, your paid search, social media, and programmatic ad experts.
Welcome back to the Bliss Business Podcast series, Scaling with Purpose, our bite-sized episodes where we explore how to embed purpose into every level of your organization. I'm Steven Zakash here with Tulio Siragusa and Ash Mar. Hey, guys.
Hello.
It's good to be here.
All right. So today we're diving into how purpose fuels innovation. And we'll explore how a strong sense of purpose can inspire creativity and innovation, allowing organizations to evolve naturally. Let's get started. So maybe people don't realize this, but purpose and innovation, they're deeply connected. When we feel that clear sense of why work matters, we're more likely to think outside the box and come up with ideas that align with those goals.
Exactly. And purpose creates a focus for creativity. Think about what it would be like to try to innovate new ideas, be curious about solving things or finding creative ways of doing things if you don't have something you're striving towards, like an end goal or something that gives meaning behind even actually being creative or collaborating. So it really gives teams a shared vision to strive for, and it encourages collaboration. And in many cases, it actually helps to push the boundaries in ways that feel meaningful because you're trying to achieve something to support something that's a belief, that's something strong, that's rooted in a common goal. So this is what we want to explore, and is how to become purpose-driven to drive innovation, because it really does. If you do it right, it really can help drive tremendous innovation.
Yeah, so let's talk about why purpose is such a powerful driver of innovation. And I think, when employees understand and connect to the organization's purpose, it really does spark intrinsic motivation. They're not just working to meet quotas or whatever the next deadline is you're working on. You're kind of driven by a desire to make meaningful impact. And a lot of times this is maybe why they came to your company to begin with. It's because you had a very clearly defined purpose, and that was something they wanted to be about. So this mindset naturally leads to creativity and innovation.
Exactly, Steve. Think of companies like Tesla, for example. Their purpose is to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. That vision inspires everything they do, from designing electric vehicles to innovating in energy storage. The clarity of their purpose fuels constant innovation. Purpose aligns efforts. It creates a shared focus, allowing teams to innovate in ways that are consistent with the company's mission. Without purpose, innovation can feel scattered or aimless. With purpose, it becomes intentional and even impactful.
Yeah, I think, Tesla is a good example. There are a lot of companies where, one thing they get right is this sort of vision of purpose that everyone can kind of rally around. So let's dive into some actionable ways organizations can leverage that purpose to build innovation. Let's go through. We've got 3 strategies here I want to cover. Tulio, start us off.
Yeah, absolutely. Strategy number 1, it's not putting everybody in a room and saying, you're not coming out of here until you come up with some innovative way of doing things, right? No, it's actually about creating a safe space to experiment. So purpose-driven innovation thrives in environments where employees feel safe to take risks, because experimentation and risk go hand in hand. You can't have experimentation if you fear failure. And so, I always think of this idea of the way science discovers everything, even cures or vaccines and things of that sort, is through a process of many, many failures, right? And those failures are part of the success equation. And this is the shift that needs to happen, right? So leaders need to encourage experimentation by framing those failures as learning opportunities. It's kind of like the story of the person that's an overnight success, right? But maybe it's been 20 years of start and stop and trial and errors and fine tuning their craft and learning a lot more along the way till they had that overnight success. And it's the same way when it comes to experimenting in creating purposeful innovation to support a company's purpose. So It's about having a healthy outcome where teams feel empowered, that they can test and they can approach things in a way that doesn't feel like they're going to get, slapped for taking a risk or failing, but they're constantly learning. And this is the key to aligning all these efforts of innovations with purpose. In fact, companies like Google has had a history of this kind of environment. They're a very purpose-driven organization. And in fact, their purpose is to organize the world's information. That's the purpose, right? And they've succeeded at that purpose. But employees are also encouraged to dedicate 20% of their time to side projects. Now, in a 40-hour work week, that's like 8 hours, right? But most people end up working more than 40 hours. So you technically are carving out an entire day to side projects. So it's like they're working 4 days of work, 4 days a week, and 1 day a week is just side projects. Now, why would an organization do this? Because they know that through that experimentation and through the freedom of creativity and innovation, the innovation's born out of that, right? Mm-hmm. If it's tied to supporting that purpose, organizing the world's information, then innovations like Gmail and Google Maps comes out of that, and many other things that they have innovated over the years.
Tulio and Ash, I know you know this. When we're like managing an ad account or something, I always like having if I could have 10% of my spend just for experimentation. I mean, I feel like that's where I can get innovative with an account, not just strictly, focus on the box that I'm given, but if I'm given a little bit of leeway to try new things and stuff, that's where we really see big growth a lot of times. Ash, let's go to what's kind of the second strategy here.
Well, to segue from all of that and speaking on innovation, connecting innovation goals to purpose is very helpful. So innovation works best when it's clearly tied to a specific purpose. For example, if your company's purpose is environmental sustainability, set innovation goals that reflect that mission. This might mean challenging teams to reduce waste in production or develop products that are more energy efficient. Purpose provides a filter for prioritizing ideas. Asking questions like, does this innovation move us closer to fulfilling our mission? If the answer is no, it's easier to redirect resources to something that does. It's not just about products. Purpose-driven innovation can also focus on improving internal processes, customer experiences, or community impact. The possibilities are endless when they're anchored in purpose.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and you said something key here, because some people will think, for example, experimentation could be a waste of money, or why carve out 10%? It used to be a lot of companies actually had R&D budgets. These days, that's like a thing of the past. But when you have a purpose as a business, that's your guiding post. Even though you're taking risks, experimenting, the risks are within a well-constrained scenario, because you're really making sure that you're asking that question. Does this align with what we're trying to do here? So it's not just experimentation for the sake of experimentation. It's experimentation in support of the purpose. And this is the third thing that's really important here. Because with risks come failures, and with failures can come discouragement. But with that also comes the breakthrough. And when you do have the breakthrough, even if it's a small breakthrough, maybe someone learned something new, didn't exactly create something meaningful yet, but they've learned something new and they've grown personally, or a team actually had a breakthrough. They grew, they collaborated more. Whatever that breakthrough is, big or small, celebrate it. It's important to celebrate those innovations. And so giving recognition enforces the importance of purpose, but also inspires others to think creatively. So when you can, as often as you can, highlight those stories where purpose-driven breakthroughs happen. This motivates the rest of the team, right? Because you can motivate people to think that risk is not supported, which often happens in an immature kind of leadership model where, people are afraid to even speak up or suggest anything because they, might get their hand slapped because some boss is immature and insecure. Or you have an environment where you're encouraging risk taking, you're encouraging creativity, and that needs to be celebrated. That's how you support it. That's how you get more of it, by celebrating those little successes.
Absolutely. I mean, there's actual real world examples of this, Tulio and Steve. I mean, one of them, just like let's take a couple companies here. One of my favorites is Unilever, whose purpose is to make sustainable living commonplace. They've invested heavily in creating environmentally friendly products like biodegradable packaging and water-saving detergents, while also transforming their supply chain to align with sustainability goals. Tulia, what are some other examples of companies that are doing real-world innovations, purpose-driven innovations?
Yeah, that's one. And then there's also another example in Warby Parker. Their purpose is to offer designer eyewear at a revolutionary price while leading the way for socially conscious businesses. I mean, that's a big one, right? But their innovations like virtual try-ons or buy a pair, give a pair program, these align very well with that mission. And so, I mean, these examples are really showing when purpose is clear, then that guides how innovation comes to life in a way that not only benefits the company, but creates positive impact on society. I mean, for example, the Warby Parker buy a pair, give a pair, that pair is going to people that may not be able to afford a pair. So it's contributing in a positive way to society.
Yeah. And I think when you have that purpose as sort of that North Star and your guideline, and this is where we got to get to. And beyond that, it just opens up so much more freedom in how you get there, right? So you can come up with an endless number of examples. And that's really where the innovation comes in, is when, hey, you've got all the freedom in the world, just get us to this place. That's where you get really creative. So to recap, a strong sense of purpose here really fuels innovation by inspiring creativity, aligning efforts, and encouraging that experimentation we're talking about. So the key strategies here: create a safe space for purpose-driven experimentation, connect innovation goals to purpose, and then celebrate purpose-driven breakthroughs, because that celebration that comes back to, really creating that safe space when you think about it. So purpose isn't just about direction, it's about inspiration. When people feel connected to a meaningful vision, their creativity flourishes, and that drives innovation at really every level. So in our next episode of the series, we'll discuss purpose at the core of business operations, how to integrate purpose into the day-to-day processes that keep your organization running smoothly. Don't forget to subscribe and share this podcast with others on their purpose-driven journey, and we'll see you next time on the Bliss Business Podcast.